response movie to Peter in his response to Stefan Molyneux. Hello there, this is Huck Verleer. Sorry for the crappy introduction, but I couldn't find anything better on short notice. Maybe I'll get a decent intro when I try and post more movies over a period of time. Now, I'm a Dutch libertarian writing for vrijspreker.nl. I'll post it in the comments on YouTube, and you will probably find this video embedded there. I'm trying to argue for the free market and take a libertarian standpoint on the things that Peter is saying here. And I cannot cover all points, which would take me a huge amount of time. And I don't have. I'm pretty happy if I can upload this movie anyway. So here goes.
Hello, this is Peter Joseph, and this is my response to Freedom Domain Radio's review of Zeitgeist Moving Forward. I'm going to go very quickly through this, so let's begin.
Somehow, the voluntarism of the free market, of people trading goods that they have built or own voluntarily, without coercion, without fiat currency, without national debts, just trading either in kind or through the medium of money, that this is a voluntary system.
The points made here regarding voluntarism and coercion, which are ancient staples of the monetary market system, or the so-called free market, is completely irrelevant to the arguments presented through Zeitgeist Moving Forward. I'm going to ignore the context presented here because it's far too narrowly defined to be applicable in any real way. Let's step back to a broader view. What choice do the billion people starving on this planet have with respect to this system and their ability to volunteer their participation? What volunteerism or freedom do people have that are unemployed right now that can't find a job? What you tend to find is this idea of that it's your decision to participate is only with respect to there being an opportunity presented in front of you. That's it. If there's no opportunities, such as during the Great Depression, well, then there's nothing to volunteer for. And that's a very critical point, and that leads us to coercion. This system demands coercion at this fundamental level. It's a slavery-generating system, regardless of how the fiat system works or anything else someone wants to bring up to try and overshadow the actual mechanics of the system itself. If you are poor, you are going to be coerced into occupations that can be very exploitative of you, such as the third world. Sweatshop slavery is rampant and things of such. You are coerced by the lack of purchasing power that you have. And since the system is based the way it is, which many can argue one side or the other, frankly it doesn't really matter, it's still based on financial coercion. You must submit to the system in order to gain wealth and hence to gain the necessities of life. So the idea that there's any freedom in this system whatsoever at the fundamental dynamic level, which is purely socially Darwinistic, is complete nonsense.
Hello, Peter. Well, you cause quite a ruckus with throwing in words like coercion, slavery, and stuff like that. But actually, it shows that you have absolutely no clue what a free market is, let alone what the non-aggression principle is, which libertarians hold dearly, especially, well, people like Stefan Molyneux. I can bring out a better advocate in the current time than Stefan Molyneux in order to defend the non-aggression principle. But the things you say are only applicable within a government and central planning kind of society. Which is the case today. Why do billions of people starve, and why do they work in sweatshops? Because, well, like in India, like you can see in the movie Free Choose from Milton Friedman, Volume 2, is that in India the loom industry is perpetuated in a totally backwards way, where they subsidize the old loom factories and people have to sleep in those factories. There is no progress of any kind, and that's what the central planning system does. Actually, that's the way I see Zeitgeist is moving. When you take into consideration that it is a central planning and that it stagnates technology, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. But what opportunities do people have who are unemployed and who are in the Great Depression? They have every opportunity to, well, maybe the starving man on the street knows a bit about a survival trick and he can do anything with that, or maybe he is a good painter, or maybe he can, well, so very well and stuff like that. He can rent his services out to other people who are in need of that service. In the Middle Ages, you had communities like this. And I don't know. Well, I don't say this is a history lesson, but just take as an example the film Pillars of the Earth. You have your architect. He has no money. He is running with his family into. He's not running actually. He's walking in the woods, and he comes by a community, and he says, I want to build this church for you. You want this church. Well, you can't pay me, but if you give me lodging, if you give me food, shelter, stuff like that, protection, I'll work for you. And this is a mutual agreement which you both can agree upon. This is not slavery. Actually, this is free choice. This is your own choice to get into an arrangement with someone where you both benefit, or you both seem to benefit, or you both think you can profit from that arrangement. The people who are starving and who have nothing are mostly the people in countries where governments are constantly at war, where they subsidize too much, where they have central planning and everything, and most of the time the government is using coercion, like you say, to run this system. This is not the case in a free market society, especially with the ones that uphold the non-aggression principle, because that would be a strict violation of it. And how would people have money and trade and barter? Well, the good things about a free society and a free market is that the possibilities are endless. You do not even need money, like Zeitgeist. You can exchange credits through websites. You can offer your services on a website, or maybe well, maybe seashells will work. I don't know. But on a website, let's give you an example. PayPal. If you take the PayPal system, but totally take away the money aspect of it, you give me 5 credits if I paint your house, and for those 5 credits, somebody else can bake me a cake or give me some bread, or on that same website. Then you have a full reserve kind of system, and no banks are needed at any time. Now, this is one of the systems that could coincide with many other systems in a free society and within a free market, because there are no restrictions to trade, barter, and occupation. The only time when people are starving and are unemployed is because the threshold to get into an occupation is pretty high. Like you see in Europe, for instance. Let's take the cab companies. You have to have certain permits and certain restrictions that you have to abide by in order to run your own taxi cab. Well, this is not the case within a free society. You just take your bicycle or your car and pick up people who are drunk as hell at 4 in the morning in order to bring them home and make yourself a buck, and then creating your own capital to make your own wealth and to pursue your own happiness with. Your physical body, your physical manifestation is capable of doing something that other people want. Now, the value that comes in and the money aspect that comes in always has to do with how much you value that service. Take, for instance, if I buy a PlayStation 3 for 300 euros, it would mean that I would rather have this PlayStation 3 for 300 than my 300 euros. This goes for everything. I would rather have those $10 than have to do absolutely nothing, or to have the spare time. This is an arrangement you can make with people, and this is a free arrangement that you make on your own accord.